Next, we have Nigel Upton. Nigel is Worldwide Director and General Manager of IoT at Hewlett Packard's Enterprise. So we're bringing in all the big guns today. So please welcome Nigel.
It's 4 o'clock. We're getting in the home straight. Not long to go, and I promise you we'll make these slides nice and simple. Sorry, my hands are full because I wanted to be able to talk to you about some of the learnings that we've had about some of the industries that we're in, and really to share where we're getting revenue from. Because there's so much hype, the ability to be able to point out who's willing to actually pay money and invest in this was something that we had the opportunity to share with you. Now, before I share with you that, a lot of you might think, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, what do they know about IoT? I've not heard of them in the IoT space. And while our marketing is somewhat woeful, we do actually have quite a comprehensive stack for IoT. And I brought some physical evidence to show you. When you look at devices, I just happen to have a TrackMo device here, but when you look at the different devices, we're not in that space. We're not in the device space. We partner with everybody on there, from the big guys, ARM, as well as all of the guys that produce these brilliant devices that add value. Where we fit in is from the device northbound. And so, for example, we have edge-line devices, edge-line gateways, which as computing moves to the edge and fog computing becomes reality, so we produce more and more platforms that support that as we move more computational, more processing, more analytics closer and closer to the devices. So the edge-line computer, we have a range of them. This is the baby one called the EL for edge-line 10. And we're announcing new products in this space next month. We work on the network side, and we acquired a company called Aruba. And in fact, one of their big references is the Levi Stadium just over the road. And they're in the Wi-Fi space, and they put these Bluetooth beacons. There's maybe, I believe, somewhere around 1,300 to 1,500 beacons deployed in that stadium. And this allows us to do very, very accurate positioning of where things are, but also guidance systems for people, so that you can get guided to your seat, you can get told how long the line is to the bathroom, where to find your favorite beverage. So there's the beacon technology from Aruba, but we partner with all the cellular providers and the long-range, low-power people like the LoRa Alliance and Sigfox. As we go further up the stack, we're announcing today and issuing the press release at 4 o'clock. Just passed. At just past 4, we're announcing our universal IoT platform, which is the platform that allows us to ingest data very, very rapidly. We've decided to embrace the one M2M standard. So we ensure that when we ingest data in lots of different formats, we're able to turn it into a consistent format that then gets fed into analytics engine. It gets fed into service clouds that allow us to be able to pull disparate information together and enrich the data. We also do the device management and the integration into the infrastructure. Hewlett Packard Enterprise has a huge presence in the enterprises that are the customers for IoT. Remember that a lot of these energy companies, car manufacturers, HP install their infrastructure for them. That's what we're known for, infrastructure. So we've rolled out SCADA systems, we've rolled out SAP, ERM, CRM systems, so we really understand the infrastructure. So what I wanted to do was just give you a little analogy of something that hopefully is a little light-hearted at this time of the evening, this time of the afternoon. Sorry, it feels like evening. And when you see a piece of sushi like this, looks delicious. And some of our competitors would be very good at giving a proper description of what this is. Now, at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, we're more the infrastructure guys. This is how we would describe it. And so I know it's an old one and it's been around for a long time, but it's still very true. At heart, we're an engineering company, and we like the complexity of the infrastructure because we understand it, because we built it. So while we go and do events like this that help us increase our awareness, I want you to know that behind it is a set of robust technologies that can really scale in very complex environments. So I wanted to start with the first industry that we're seeing money being spent, which is in connected car. Now, connected car's been around a while, and there's all sorts of services that have been deployed, like telematics, like diagnostics, there's infotainment, and there's communication. As more technology comes through, things like vehicle-to-vehicle, swarm computing, all of this is adding additional complexity. And where car manufacturers tend to call us is typically they've deployed a number of IoT solutions, and they've typically deployed a killer application that was really valuable, and they've tied it directly, they've tied the thing directly to the application, because that's the fastest way you get results. And I remember sitting down with this one car manufacturer, and they said, if anybody comes near us with another killer app, we'll shoot them. We're looking for a killer platform. Give us a platform that can allow us to be able to integrate any type of device over any type of network. That's what we want, because we want to be able to have a consistent way of onboarding new services, have consistent data model, consistent security, and be able to perform analytics on it. The other piece so these car companies are spending a lot of money on this. These are big, big projects, north of $50 million to be able to go ahead and start being able to provide a common layer across the disparate IoT systems they have. And these connected car companies have a lot of IoT systems. The one we're dealing with, they had 14 separate IoT systems because they had done the little stovepipes. And our sweet spot tends to be customers that have rolled out these vertical stovepipes and then run into performance, scaling, different formats of data, and that's where we step in and we can help them. The other piece that the car manufacturers invest in, and they expect from companies like us and companies like you in the audience, is that we together should do innovation. And so we partner with companies like IAV, like Continental for the head-end units, and we do sandboxes where we come up with new ideas and we then present it to the various car companies. Now, they very much appreciate the fact that they have a partner ecosystem that can innovate and bring new ideas, because you know what it's like when you get stuck in your company and you tend to think a certain way, and then when an outside set of partners come in and want you to look at it slightly differently, that's where true innovation tends to happen. So connected car, a lot of money being spent, typically because they've been doing this for a while and they've run into problems. They've got real pain points. The second area that we see substantial money being spent is in smart energy and smart cities. Now, the set of services that are being rolled out, and there's quite a few of them: smart lighting, smart parking, optimization of garbage pickup by putting sensors on trash cans. There's a whole bunch of use cases that are being deployed. And the key with, I beg your pardon, could you go back one, please? The key to the smart city and smart energy is that all of these services, all of these use cases, they're all connected to each other. And traffic is connected to smart parking, which is connected to smart lighting, and so all of those systems have to work together. Now, we see a very aggressive spend, particularly in Asia. So particularly countries like India, where the government and the municipalities and the cities are investing heavily in being able to put some form of smart infrastructure in place. Now, if any of you have driven in New Delhi or Mumbai or any of those places, then it's quite the experience, and you could understand why maybe you might want to enforce some of the traffic rules. I'm amazed you don't have any accidents, but that's because you're moving like 5 miles an hour. But you know, it's quite a challenge. And so being able to tie together traffic control systems with, as I said, smart parking, that type of thing, the money that's being spent is being spent on defined use cases from the cities. As I said, smart parking, there's a whole series of them. The project we're doing in India at the moment, I mean, there's billions being spent on this, and each city selects 5 to 10 use cases that they want rolled out that are most valuable to their particular city. Again, where they find value from companies like Hewlett Packard Enterprise is that we can handle very high volumes of data, and we can deal with the complexity and normalize it all and provide it into a common data format. The third area, I beg your pardon, so the third area is telecom. And our telecom business is just shy of $1 billion, where we provide infrastructure, software, and services to telecom companies. We understand them quite well. And telecom companies have this challenge of moving from their infrastructure, which is designed for subscribers that are paying $30, $40, $50, if you've got children like me, $60, $70 a month for their devices. And the IoT price points are $1 a month, $1.50 a month. So how do you take your infrastructure and support not only IoT, but still be able to maintain the place where most of your revenue comes from today, which is your subscribers? So they spend a lot of money with us on being able to build out IoT overlay networks. And we use virtualization everywhere. We use software-defined networks. We can drive the price point down, very light BSS, very light OSS. So we can drive the price point down so that we can get down to a realistic price for IoT. It's a very different model to if you're a phone subscriber, because billing is complicated. You typically have companies like Amdocs in there. And so your price point, your cost point is quite high. And the IoT overlay networks, that we tend to provision and sell them to operators, and we tend to do it as a service. They don't know which IoT services are going to get accepted and accelerate, and which ones are going to not have any take-up. None of us do, to be honest. But when you're throwing mud against the wall, you want to see what sticks, and if that sticks, you ramp it up, and if it doesn't stick, you shut it down. And so being able to provision that IoT overlay network as a service is really important to them. So it's pretty impressive. The slide's now moving without the clicker, which is even more impressive. So excuse me if I look confused. The lessons that we learned from these engagements that we have, and as I say, we tend to look at it quite broadly. Smart cities, smart energy, huge take-up in Asia, accelerating in Europe, a little slower in the US. Connected car, it's big everywhere you go because it's such a global marketplace. And telecom is the same. It's accelerating everywhere, and the ability to be able to provide this IoT overlay networks at price points that match the demands for IoT. Those are the issues where Hewlett Packard plays. And what I wanted to do was just cover really the 6 areas that, for us, kind of crystallized the sort of issues that we saw. The business complexity, typically, if you've got lots of stovepipes, then it gets complicated really quickly. So you do need to have an overarching data model that allows you to be able to consistently treat data. Network complexity. Our clients have a lot of different types of devices, and they believe that certain networks are appropriate for certain devices. If you have a battery-operated sensor buried in concrete, you're probably not going to put a SIM card in it. So in that case, you might want to use Sigfox or the LoRa Alliance. You might want to use something there. They want to be able to have the choice of the right connectivity for the right type of device. So what we do is we enable that because we have partnerships with cellular, with Wi-Fi, with the LoRa and Sigfoxes, with Bluetooth, so that our customers can choose the right or the appropriate network for the type of device they have. And they have a range of devices. You think about a car, some of it you absolutely need cellular connectivity. Some of it, like over-the-air updates, you want to do over Wi-Fi because there's a massive amount of data coming through. And some of it is very bursty, small amounts of data, and that might be appropriate for a LoRa or Sigfox type network. So it's having the right connectivity for the right device. And if you're dealing with a company where the only thing they want to sell you is their network, then you tend to run into issues, and the desire to be able to have that freedom of choice. Multiple siloed solutions, we see that in every industry where it's so easy to start off by having an app like, in this particular case, it's Trackimo. And I like it because I can stick it on my child's car without them knowing about it, and then I can track them. But that's just me, by the way. It's probably illegal, I suspect, in some states. It's very easy to be able to roll out these type of solutions and tightly integrate them to an application. The issues start to happen when you have lots of them and you start to scale. That's when you start to hit issues, and that's really where Hewlett Packard Enterprise plays in. That's our sweet spot. High cost of entry, particularly if you're deciding to purchase all of this, or if the vendor doesn't provide it as a service on demand, then you're starting to make CapEx. And unable to derive value from the IoT data because it's often in very different formats and very difficult to integrate. So our advice, and again, this is take it for what it's worth. We've been building out these IoT systems for many years now, and we did M2M before that. And what we see in general can be put down into 6 areas that we think can be easily addressed with the right choice of technologies and partners. And I'm not saying it's us, it's just in general, these are the areas that we've seen come up again and again. If you use a common platform and a common data model, your life gets an awful lot easier. Both the analytics, the way that you manage the data, all of this suddenly becomes a lot easier. On the second bullet, the open and standards-based IoT platform. Nobody wants to be tied into anything proprietary. We've followed the one M2M model. We think that that's a model that works, that has the most support. Not everybody agrees, but we've made our choice of one M2M. And if that standard doesn't stand the test of time, then we'll pivot to the next standard. Well, we believe fundamentally it has to be standards-based. And our clients give us some fairly robust feedback that they would like it standards-based, so that, God forbid, they want to switch us out, they can do that quickly and easily. The single platform obviously removes the duplication and the cost. The partner program, as I mentioned, our customers expect innovation when we join with our partners. So we not only do all the pre-integration and make sure everything works together, but we also create labs with them where we do innovation. And it's sometimes tough because you can't just do innovation. As you all know, you can't tell your employees, right, for the next half hour, guys, I want you to go and innovate something. Come back when you're done. That's typically not how it works. In fact, in our team, it seems to work best after a couple of glasses of wine. The best ideas tend to come out. So being very close to your partners and being able to innovate, that's important. The as-a-service business model, we think that it's, certainly the feedback we've had is, Don't make us buy platforms because we don't know how long we'll want them or need them. Provide it as a service so we can scale it up and scale it down, because nobody knows which services are going to take off and which aren't. So give us that flexibility. And finally, the platform needs to be data-centric, and the ability to be able to not only derive analytics, but the real power of that is being able to make data contextual and enrich it. If, for example, a car is driving along and the airbag goes off, you not only want information from the car, you also want information from the condition of the road, the traffic, the weather. You need to pull together a whole series of data to be able to make that data contextual and make it valuable. And as you pull more data in and make it more and more contextual, the value goes up and your clients pay an awful lot more for it. So the ability to be able to do those mashups and be able to bring in disparate data, tie it together, and enrich the data is so important. So, with our words of wisdom from the deployments that we've been working on over the last 6 months to a year, these are some of the lessons that we've had, and it's been a real pleasure being able to share that with you. We're in room 205. If you want to come and stop by and chat, we're there for the next rest of the day and the following 2 days. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
I'd shake your hand, but you have all the goodies. No, don't give me the detonator. It's over there. Great job, Nigel. That was some pretty cool slides, huh? I didn't get that memo that we could do the full 4 to 1. All right, so we've given you a full spectrum here on the aquatic scale. We went from saving little baby turtles to eating dead fish on rice. My jokes just aren't working today.